Okay,
not
well, so
pick a better cold open.
Better cold open. Okay, so I went to Arizona, and
I brought back
there was nothing.
an apple.
There was so much nothing. It was just flat and boring. Because I'm used to New York, everything goes up. I mean, LA sucks too because it's like that too. It's mostly flattened out. It's like a sprawl, but the sprawl was intense. But then, Paul, I think I sent you a picture of it, and I should have. I'm just going to describe it. I went to go see a masterpiece of cinema, and it was basically what are you typing? It was basically a ghost town surrounded by churches and karate stuff and like martial arts.
Nice.
Because apparently people in Arizona, because it's so hot, they want to leave the house, but they can't spend any time outside. So everyone is in some sort of martial arts. Everyone is they roller skate. Oh my God. I went roller skating for the first time since I was like 10 years old. And it was literally like me, it was an old adult type thing. And I was going 1, 2, left, right, one. And people just whipping around and dancing, doing freaking, I'm not even kidding. People doing like spins in the air. And I'm going
what
1, 2.
What are we talking about right now?
Roller skating about Arizona. Talking about Arizona.
Oh, anyway. Just in general, just your trip to Arizona. I was like, where are we going?
This is cold, so you got to stop me at some point. But anyways, in my typical New York curmudgeonry, curmudgeonry, while these people are skating around, going backwards, dancing, doing synchronized stuff, I'm getting scared. And every time someone gets near me, I'm like,
"You said, hey, I'm skating here." Did you do
that? I would say, stop showing off. Quit showing off. I'm trying to learn.
Who are you showing off for? Just yelling at these kids.
Quit showing off. Like, stop it. Anyways,
don't tell your mother you're going so fast.
Yeah. So if you go to Arizona, just prepare to only go in one week of February when it is not emaciatingly sweat pulling out of your body, burn you alive hot. It's only 1 week. So, and I went there.
That's amazing.
Great.
So much
cold
for
open.
Our sponsorship by Arizona Travel Association. Thanks.
Oh, there goes our Joe Arpaio sponsorship. Thanks a lot. Cold open about a hot state. Thank you so much, Alex, for wasting 2.5 minutes. We appreciate it. Hi, everyone. Welcome and happy Thursday. Welcome to Phantom Social, the best pop culture show on the internet. Truly, we watch all of them. This is the best one.
Every single one I've watched.
This is your one-stop shop to watch the three of us.
There's nowhere else you can do it legally. So thank you guys all so much. We've got a fun show to go. And if you haven't already, like, comment, subscribe, hit the notification bell. And then after the show, comment your favorite Alex moment, because I'm sure there's at least one.
I'm starting to feel picked on.
So what I've learned is never go to Arizona. Yeah, that's the biggest takeaway from this show.
Yeah,
my mom was born in Arizona, and even as a baby, she knew to get the hell out of Arizona. It's not great. She's from a town called Superior, which is not. No part of Arizona is Superior. Well, everyone, welcome into a Not Real People box office breakdown. Today we are breaking down the top 5 domestic gross rom-coms by number. The reason I say that is because I don't want to get actually who are saying Pretty Woman is made. Shut up.
So
I know
the specific criteria that these are the top 5. List out exactly what the criteria are for the top 5 so that everybody knows.
Has to be a rom-com.
Okay.
Mel Gibson has to be shirtless.
In all of them?
Almost all of them, at least one. But no. So we're solely basing the top 5 through 1, solely on how much money it made in the U.S. during its theatrical run. The only reason I bring this up is because certain films had so many different theatrical releases. Look at you, Pretty Woman. Because Julia Roberts had a brilliant agent and had a wonderful contract that had her movies be re-released, but we'll get into that. So
this is just the initial release.
Correct. This is just the initial release of these top 5 films. So But before we get into that, we've got a fun little segment that we like to do called Trailers That Break Down Alex. Alex is going to watch this, try to keep his blood pressure down. And Alex, you know the rules. If you have anything to say, raise your hand.
You got this, Alex.
I will pause the video, and then you can say what you want, and we'll finish it. Alex, pick a hand.
Left. I always pick left.
Your left or my left?
Your left.
So this one.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
There's nothing in there, but it's metaphorical. So we are going to watch the trailer for a film that I actually have not seen this trailer yet. Ironically, someone did post it in the group. If you are missing it, then maybe you already know what I'm talking about. But this is the trailer for Sasquatch Sunset.
Okay.
Is this a movie? Oh, Sundance selection?
Looks beautiful. This is like
Extraordinary Family.
We should hike as a group, honestly.
Oh, until now.
I also haven't seen this, so.
I was gonna say, I'm guessing you didn't.
Oh my god! It's right. Jesse Eisenberg. Oh
my gosh!
What a cast!
Oh my gosh! Thank you.
Wait a minute.
Yes.
Who's Riley Keough again? Keough.
She was most recently in Daisy Edgar Jones in The Six, I think. You would know her face.
Riley Keough. All right, let's see.
Let's
American
watch the trailer.
Actress. Okay.
There you go. Okay. Does that slowly you're like, oh, I'm not watching it now.
Oh gosh. What is this?
Oh.
Well, ew. Did you see that, Alex? It's upsetting.
I mean, all right. I need to know who's this Zellner person. Hold on. I don't know who anybody
that
is.
Was a trailer.
Yeah, it is a film coming out that is been met with a lot of interesting reviews so far. It is going to be pretty divisive, I think.
Is it already out?
No, it's not out yet. It'll be out, I believe, the end of April.
After it wins the Sundance Festival?
I recognize the name now.
Steve
because
says.
Kamiko the Treasure Hunter. I've wanted to see Kamiko the Treasure Hunter for years. I've had it on my list to watch.
Okay, so Steve says, stuff like this convinces me I can make a blockbuster. Liza says, this looks interesting. Jason says, this seems like you can go straight to VHS.
Now, these are jaded people. These are jaded people.
And John says, I'm not sure what I just watched.
So,
and then Tenchi says, did Taika Waititi have something to do with this?
No, my boy Ari Aster did. But see, now I'm thinking like it has vibes like Where the Wild Things Are, that what's his name did.
Yeah.
It's got that those chill nature vibes.
We watched a very different movie.
But creepy and gross.
No, how it's got like the music and has has these monsters doing human type things.
Like easily be like Arcade Fire playing behind while they run
and like
and like
the fact that they're just living like people, but like people in the wild, like they're not acting very ape-like or cuddly. So that's why it gives me like Where the Wild Things Are vibes. That's what I'm just saying. So I don't know. I might like it, but right now I'm like, the baby is too ugly.
I'm 100% gonna see this.
Oh yeah, big time.
Laura, let's go together.
Absolutely. Yeah. Let's see this as a group. We can rent out a theater. There's not a lot of us at the moment.
I'm sure we'll be the only ones there.
I think the movie's going to do quite well, much like Rubber, the Killer Tire film, where people are like, actually, I don't think you like understand the meaning. It's like, shut up. It's a tire.
Oh my God.
It's a tire.
That should have been my cold open before, by the way. My nemesis, my cinema nemesis on the plane.
Oh, you say that again? Say it 3 times fast.
Cinema nemesis. Cinematic nemesis.
Just say cinema
nemesis. It sounds like a neurological disease that just like makes you like scratch your head constantly.
Yeah. She had a neurological disease that made me scratch my head.
Who's your cinema nemesis?
She's just some random stranger on the plane.
Oh, it was a person. It's not like Dakota Johnson.
No, dude. Okay. I was on the plane with 2 people. They're like, "Oh, we're gonna watch some movies," and they're like, "Oh, maybe we'll just watch Barbie."
We're gonna watch
we're gonna watch. Oh,
you told me about this. Yeah.
So she's like, maybe we're gonna watch Barbie. We're really scraping the bottom of the barrel, and I was like, no, it's pretty good. And this woman across the aisle, because like some people just think it's gonna be that kind of movie. Yeah. So this woman across the aisle, like from us, was like, no, it was really bad. You don't want to see it. So then like 2 minutes later, they were still looking. I was like, yes, watch Barbie. It's really good. And then she heard me, and she's like, I didn't really like it, but maybe my expectations were too high, and I just wanted now I'm like, I want to kill her. And then they were going through more movies, and I was like, oh, by the way, skip The Creator. They're like, The Creator? I was like, yeah, skip The Creator, the sci-fi movie. Oh, they're like, oh, really? I was like, it is awful. It is banal. It is so it's a terrible movie. And what does she say? She's like, oh, really? I like that movie. And then
nobody asked you.
And the best part is that I was like, well, and she's like, well, it's one of those movies you have to really think about. Like, you might have to put. No. And now I'm just like, I'm going to kill this woman. This plane's going down.
We're all going down.
We're all going down. Think about your life choices and how you got to this point if you're watching it.
Hey, lady, you like The Creator so much? Well, you're about to meet him. I'm taking us all down.
Yeah.
We're all going.
And she was really excited to see Madam Web. I was checking out. I'm gonna get. I was trying to get the emergency exit, but I wasn't in the emergency exit aisle. I was just like kind of shaking the window. Oh God!
The lady Alex is talking about seems like the person who heats up fish in the microwave at work.
Yeah.
War crimes.
Anyway, sorry.
War crimes. Well, that was Trailers That Break Down, Alex. Thank you guys for recommending some of these. I appreciate it. The other one was Damsel. I was going to show Alex the new Millie vehicle. But you chose the wrong one. It was always going to be Sasquatch. That's that to me.
I heard you say the new Millie Vanilli vehicle, and I'm like, wait, play that.
By the way, Paul, I accidentally saw the Millie Vanilli trailer, so I'm glad that we went with Sasquatch.
Good.
If you played the Millie Vanilli trailer, I would have lost my mind with rage because it makes me so mad. And it's not Millie Vanilli, it's Millie Bobby Brown. Autumn, I just keep selling Millie Vanilli because you put it in my head.
Yeah, now it's Millie Vanilli.
Are we good to move on from Millie Vanilli? Everyone good?
Okay. Yes.
All right, everyone.
Well,
it's true.
We're good. You can save it for the play. So we are going to move now into the top 5 box office breakdowns for romantic comedies. I did also a little bit, obviously, I don't think I need to say anymore that I did research. I think it goes to show that I live alone. I don't want to brag, but so I'm always doing this. It's pretty interesting. And one thing that I kind of want to do at the end of this is have you both, I haven't told them this because we all just met 15, 20 minutes ago because we're busy, why you think these particular films, not them individually, but why these, and I want you all to answer as well, were the most popular, like what your thesis is, because we'll talk about them all. And of course, I've got some like facts, what released around it, but I do think there is an interesting through line between 5 to 2, and then why 1 was the most important. So with all that, hey Daniel, you want to come on and say hi before we freaking light this rocket?
Hey Daniel.
Hey everyone.
Hey,
what's up, man?
Look, it's the 1 names and the 2 names over there.
Go us.
Me and Daniel don't need to say our last names.
Yeah,
you can't spell it.
I just changed mine.
Yet another way that you both are like Madonna.
Exactly.
Well, we are going to, of course, go through the 5 films, and then we can talk about where it ranks for us and how much we like that film. All right. So with all of that, let's start off with number 5. This is, in retrospect, the lowest of them, but it still earned quite a bit of money. It is There's Something About Mary, directed by Bobby and Peter Farrelly. You may know them as well from Me, Myself, and Irene. Osmosis Jones. Oh, Farrelly. Sorry. I've been saying Farley. I've also been alone. So Bobby and Peter Farrelly, Me, Myself, and Irene, Osmosis Jones, Dumb and Dumber, and Shallow Hal. One thing that I found to be really, really funny is that Peter Farrelly also directed, or was a director on The Green Book in 2019.
Is that wild?
And with Mahershala Ali, Viggo Mortensen won an Oscar, Best Picture. It's like, what range?
Yeah.
What range? Can you imagine?
To go your entire career making movies that are like, oh, we're gonna do something gross and we're gonna do something offensive and we're gonna be gross and offensive the whole time and dumb and whatever, and then just be like, oh, by the way, Green Book, but like.
Here's this incredibly impactful movie that will, showcase the plight of humanity. There's something about Mary.
Yes.
It's okay. Released July 15th, 1998. It earned domestically a total of $176.4 million. Currently sitting at 7.1 out of 10 as a user review, 69 out of 100 on Metacritic. Seems apt there. And the movies that were released around it, I found to be very interesting. Lethal Weapon 4, Armageddon, tired of this, Dr. Dolittle, and Saving Private Ryan. So pretty interesting roundup there of movies. It was an interesting film, truly.
Something
I think
for everyone that weekend.
yeah, there is something about the state of cinema there. I watched this for the first time last night. This is the last one on my list that I hadn't seen
for the first time.
I'd never seen it before. No, I don't know what it was. Like I'd seen, of course. Do we have an image of the iconic scene, Daniel?
Yes,
and I know it's in our thumbnail. There it is. Yeah, that's not hair gel. And I'd seen this before, but I'd never, really had seen this particular movie. Where we can start here. Where did everyone rank this in their personal rankings?
Put it number 2.
2. It's also 4 for me.
4 for me.
Mm-hmm.
And the
also
only
my
reason
4th.
It's 4 for me is because I despised another one so much. It was just so tedious to watch. But I like this movie fine. I saw it when it came out and then never had the desire to see it ever again until this one. Like, I get it. It's funny. To me, I found it kind of forgettable. I was really shocked that it was in the romantic comedy category.
I was too.
Like,
I was insanely shocked.
Like, that to me is like making one of the Adam Sandler movies into a romantic comedy category. Like, there's always a love interest, sure, but that doesn't mean it's a romantic comedy.
51st Dates is totally a romantic comedy.
I'm talking about like Happy Gilmore or like
so
Billy
what you're saying is you're picking very specific things so you can be like all Adam Sandler sucks.
You want to fight? No, I didn't say Adam Sandler. No. Let me clarify. I enjoy like Happy Gilmore is a good go-to movie. I watch it a lot.
Right.
It's not a romantic comedy any more than this one is a romantic comedy. I didn't feel like there's a girl in there that he likes. But
hold on.
It doesn't. Actually,
the entire premise of the movie is him trying to get with a girl.
It doesn't matter what the premise is.
And it's a comedy. It's not Happy Gilmore. Happy Gilmore is him trying to become a golfer.
Yeah, I mean, what is the classification?
With a little bit of love in it.
I mean,
This movie was, yes, he's after this girl, but that's not what's happening in the whole film. He only sees her later on. The rest of the film is all these wacky characters doing wacky things that have nothing to do with his plot. He has a whole side plot where he picks up a hitchhiker and he gets mistaken for a murderer, and like,
because he's on his way. He's on his way to marry.
Or like,
the whole movie is him
like
trying to
The
get married.
Hangover. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, that guy's gonna get married in The Hangover, but it doesn't make it a romantic comedy just because the guy's gonna get married. Like,
me and you see this movie totally differently, and it's amazing.
I
was
also
shocked.
and you see it incorrectly.
I would
You're taking
say
movies where romance is this much, and this movie is like the whole point is for him to get the girl.
Of the movie is
the whole movie.
It was not
he gets
romance. No, it was
okay.
not
Listen,
romance.
the movie sucks, but yeah, it was a quest for romance.
Well, I would say that the movie, like in order to classify, which I do agree this is a romantic comedy, that it's like the movie, like the through line from how to get to A to C is romance or love, or even if it's twisted, that makes it more fun as far as the Farrelly brothers is concerned. Like the whole purpose of the movie is a relationship. It's not for these side out gags. It's not for him to go to Miami. It's for him
relationship.
Right, exactly. Okay.
Attainment.
Shallow Hal is a disgusting,
Hal is a romantic
ridiculous, gross, awful,
right.
all this stuff that happens in it. But it's a romantic comedy because the whole point of it is to fall in love with somebody. Yeah, that's the whole point.
Yeah,
sure.
And the whole point of this movie is to fall in love with this girl and get her to fall in love with him.
I will concede that his quest is for the girl. It's just so poorly done, and it's so pandering to the broad, shallow comedy that I felt that it was more of a comedy than a romantic comedy. That the romance was just the frame for which for them to do all of these ridiculous, gross things because they're so funny. But I didn't feel like it was a romantic movie in any way.
Mm-hmm. And by the way, I agree.
That's
with you
good. Actually, that's good that you found it not romantic.
Yeah,
let's call that a plus.
I agree with all of that. It's just once you made that comparison to Happy Gilmore, I was like, no. You got to compare it to 50 First Dates. Still terrible, but still, whatever. But by the way, 50 First Dates had the best song on the soundtrack, and I'm done.
They did.
I'm not even going to say what song it is.
States is a romantic comedy very clearly because the whole thing is steeped in their relationship. This one was steeped in how many crazy characters can you have doing outlandish things, and also he's trying to find this girl. It was.
Yeah.
I
think some of them tend to be more romantic. Some of them tend to be more comedy, but they are still romantic comedy. They're intertwined and interlocked.
Okay, and John Galgano says he was in love with her since high school, never let go. And I think that's true. Like, he loved her. He was trying to find her again.
Right.
I don't know if that it was love since he had a crush on, if you remember in the beginning of the movie, he had this big intense crush on another girl who turned him down. And 10 minutes later, he sees this girl starts talking to him. He walks her home. She asks him to prom. He goes to the prom, or he goes to her house. She moves away. The whole thing happens. She moves away the next day, and they never see each other again. He was not in love with her.
He talks about her in therapy. So
he needs more.
He has this
he needs a lot more
always greener, road not taken obsession is like, oh, my life kind of sucks, but if only I could be with her, I'm going to be great. Like, it was not love. It was just this weird obsession.
Sounds like love to me, honestly.
By the way, all of these movies to me had that feeling.
Thank you, John. It was more stalkerish than romantic, John says.
Yeah. By the way, that's how I feel about almost all these movies. Almost all these movies make me feel awful and angry, and I hate them. But this one was gross, so I laughed at it.
That's how love is. You've just never had love like that before. You know what? You're right. I think I'm just bitter.
Wait,
Jason.
Which one is Jason in that image? I need to know how serious to take this comment.
Hey, let's see.
which one's Jason?
The one from.
He's the one on the right.
Madagascar.
He had a hot take. He said Deuce Bigalow is a rom-com too. Thoughts?
It is considered a rom-com. It is
Deuce Bigalow
on IMDb.
Deuce Bigalow, male gigolo,
because he's like trying to find love through it. It's considered a rom-com.
No, but see, that's a totally different thing. He's not trying to find love. He's trying to repair a freaking $90 million aquarium. So he becomes a gigolo for that.
He's in love with his aquarium.
Love is very, very, very distant. Yeah. He's a meat cube.
Okay, right. Well, let's agree that we all hate this movie.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's
It's funny. It's still number 2 on my list.
Yeah, so
That's how much I
pretty
dislike
interesting
everything
things. Jim Carrey and Courtney Cox were considered to star in this film. Jim Carrey had just been in The Mask with her a couple of years before, and they felt he was too big a star. That like people would not be able to focus on him and have Jim Carrey be believable as someone who gets in all these hijinks. And Courtney Cox just bailed on the film apparently because she read the script and didn't want to be in it. And the Farrelly brothers also felt this was going to be their last film because they did the movie Kingpin, which I have seen, and I cannot stand that movie. I'm not a really big fan of Farrelly brothers movies. I don't like
Kingpin so much.
I don't like that movie. I'm not a big fan of Dumb and Dumber. Like it's just not funny to me. But I could see why people love these films. It was very like reminiscent of like that Mad TV SNL at the time, like that sort of slapstick. Not my thing.
First of all, audience, do you think it's a rom-com? Did you like this movie? Like, I know that some people love this movie. They go, "Oh, Something About Mary. That's such a great movie. It's so funny." It's always dudes that say that, by the way. But
that's true.
And I have a whole hot take later on. So
I can't wait.
So do I. So that is number 5 in our box office breakdown for rom-coms. Number 4 in our box office breakdown is Pretty Woman, directed by Gary Marshall of Princess. Number 4. So directed by Gary Marshall, who also did Princess Diaries, League of Their Own, Never Been Kissed, New Year's Eve, Valentine's Day, and Mother's Day. You can leave the key art back up. I thought something I found interesting about Gary Marshall is he directed Mother's Day in 2016, which is the same year that he
I just realized it's in Spanish.
So he directed.
Does that say "Steal Your Heart" at the end?
Yes,
I think so.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Okay, Daniel, you found the one that's in Spanish. Google knows you, bud.
There was one that said something mujer, like Pretty Woman was in Spanish too, and I was like, no, that's in Spanish.
Nice.
I can't get that one. And then I grabbed this one. I didn't even realize.
You're only Spanish speaking Google. That's it.
So Gary Marshall directed and released Mother's Day the same year that he died, which is probably how we'll all go, working until the day we die. So that's fun. Also, another fun fact about this key art here, that's not Julia Roberts' body.
No, it's not.
That is not Julia Roberts' body. That is her stunt double, who
very unhappy about that.
She was not there at the time, and it was photoshopped in. But yeah, pretty interesting key art. I think if we have them all, like there was just something about this like bold text characters in white. I think 3 of our 5 movies have this. Thank you, Hitch.
Yes.
And then where's the other one?
Factory. It's similar. It's not quite the same.
It's got to be blue because of Mykonos.
Mykonos.
Yeah, Mary.
Oh yeah, Something About Mary. There it is. Yeah. So it's that white background, bold text. So very, very reminiscent of the time. Super interesting. So it made. Now this is just U.S. box office weekend or the run that it had. 178.4 million, 7.1 out of 10. And a 51 out of 100 by Metacritic. We can get into that in a second. I read a bunch of old reviews on why that is. Coming out around it was The Hunt for Red October, Joe versus the Volcano, and Lord of the Flies. So
Joe versus Volcano, baby. That's a romantic comedy I'd want to watch.
We agree, Alex. Oh my gosh, it's amazing.
I take it back.
I love that movie. I hate that movie.
You're like Mel Gibson's daughter anytime he says something nice and what women want. So yeah, this is a really, really interesting film. And there's a lot really to be said about this movie, specifically the 51 out of 100 on Metacritic. The people who reviewed this movie, I read maybe like 3 or 4 reviews from 1990 or like 1991 when this came out, like Roger Ebert being one. And they basically share the exact thing that anyone who's seen this movie complains about. They're like, it has a very skewed perspective of sex work, of what power dynamics are and how they're positively or negatively represented. This whole idea of like this male boot and tie savior complex. So they're pretty nail on that. And then you have other people that are like, this is great. Hot people in a hot movie. Like it's just stuff has never, what I want to emphasize is stuff has never changed. We think the same, we're the same humans now as we were then, and we can document it all.
And I agree with that. now as much as I did when I was young watching this.
And I do want to preface this that technically Pretty Woman is the highest grossing rom-com of all time if we're bringing in like global since release. The reason I didn't it is 4 is because this movie's been re-released like 20 times. Julie Roberts for a long time. Yeah, it's probably out right now. It was out in Santa Barbara. It was like the only movie playing at this new theater forever. So it's just made a ton of money. So it wasn't really fair to, in comparison. But it still made a metric F ton of money. So for this film, before we get into some of the things that I found interesting about it, where does it rank for you all?
I just like the other ones better. It's a tough race. Wow. A lot of these are good movies.
Oh wait, no, I forgot the other movie. No, this is 4 for me.
What about you, Paul?
For me, this is my number 1. I like it the most. Yeah,
this is 4 for me.
Laura Keela says the original script was much darker. Her character was supposed to be a drug addict. Yeah, I do know that.
And then we watched Rush.
I know it's 2 for me. It's only because another one is just one of my favorite movies of all time. So that's the only reason. But
also, it's
I'll wait.
It's a Disney film, which is funny because the original title of this movie, she is a Disney princess. I was going to say, yes, Julia Roberts in Pretty Woman technically is a Disney princess. The title was originally $3,000 for the amount of money that is negotiated between herself and Richard Gere, and Disney opted out of it because they're like, it's going to seem too science fiction if we have a 3,000 in the title. I was like, people are worried about this movie being the next Space Odyssey is the problem.
I do have to say she's actually not a Disney princess because they have to not only be in a Disney film, they have to be the main character, yes, but they have to either be married to royalty or be born royalty or do a heroic deed like Mulan. I also want to say Mulan is a Disney princess because she did do a heroic deed, but in this movie, did she do a heroic act? I mean, standing up and setting boundaries, I guess you could say, is a heroic act.
She stood up for herself.
Setting healthy boundaries for yourself.
She left her friend money.
And she regularly talks to a bunch of animals. And by animals, I mean men.
Nice.
She flosses every day. That's heroic. Setting role model.
And anyone who has to kiss Richard Gere that much is a hero to me.
Yeah. So, all right. So she's a Disney princess.
Yeah, but for me, this was my favorite movie. The reason I think is, I don't know, it was a bit of nostalgia. Yes. For me, I just think that I really like when I thought of like big movie stars doing big movie star things like in a rom-com, I was like, this is that movie.
A classic rom-com. Yeah.
Yeah, classic rom-com. It was just my favorite, like of all of them. I don't really have any other reason other than I just liked it the most.
Well, it has 3 very iconic moments. The one is the whoa, 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 like that when she's dressed up.
Oh yeah.
Is the slamming of the jewelry case and she laughs, which apparently was not scripted. He just did that to her, and she laughed that way. And then the third one is big mistake, huge.
Right.
Mistake.
It's huge. Funny the clapping, that was a real diamond that's worth like $500,000. And off right behind Gary Marshall, the director, the company that loaned them the diamond had 2 armed security guards just holding their gun, just watching,
just waiting. And Richard Gere has the balls to go
to do that. I know, which makes it funnier. But then in a behind the scenes video that I watched, it was like from 1998. Gary Marshall's talking about how he's like, yeah, we got this really cool diamond. They had security guards there, but the dress Julia Roberts is wearing is worth like $40. They just pulled it off of like the whole thing is like $40.
Gosh. Wow.
Yeah. It is it's super interesting. I had this whole thing because there's this part. I'm just going to read it how I wrote it here. But Gary Marshall also, in The Princess Diaries, which Gary Marshall also directed, he makes references to Pretty Woman because Marshall hired the same waiter who says it happens all the time. Where in Pretty Woman, she's the escargot, and he catches it. Yeah. So he's in 3 other, that same waiter who catches it is in 3 other movies doing the
Does he
same
always
thing.
play an escargot catcher?
No. He's not a no. He's not an escargot
Is that a
escort.
specialist?
He's not a specialist. He's in Princess Diaries and does the same thing. Yeah, Daniel.
Yeah.
It happens all the time.
That dress is $74 today with inflation, Steve said.
And you know what? That's twice as expensive as most outfits I wear.
Oh, Laura has an interesting question. Laura says, maybe a question for another time. I'm ignoring that part. Is this romance any healthier than Something About Mary? I would say slightly, but not extremely. Slightly more healthy because I feel that I don't know. It wasn't a weird stalkery thing, but it definitely was a weird power. Like the power dynamic was super unhealthy, and a lot of that kind of stuff. But
I hate all these movies.
Super healthy.
Yeah, not great. Not great overall. As far as like what a representation of love is, I think there's really only one positive representation of love in this whole series of films, which
says we were thinking the same thing.
A lot about we as a people. So also only one of two of our top 5 films that is nominated for an Oscar, and the only one for the acting category. Julia Roberts was nominated for Best Leading Actress in '91. But she lost. Unless you're looking at the doc, do you want to guess who she lost to?
Marissa Tomei?
Oh my God, could you imagine? No, she lost to Kathy Bates in Misery.
And that was a Galgano.
That's a good call.
A Galgano of a performance. Yeah, absolutely earned. Absolutely.
And here's 3 points I'd like to make about this movie. One, Roy Orbison is one of my favorites, classic singers, one of my favorites. This is where It Must Have Been Love, But It's Over Now by Roxette comes from, which is, in my opinion, which is one of the greatest songs of my generation, right? Maybe one of the greatest songs of all time. And then it also inspired a spin-off, which is The Office. This ready to go. Ready to go. This spin-off, they Pretty Womaned this store in the shopping mall so he could buy a wizard. Spoilers. Hello, how are you? Good day. How are you?
It was not a crystal wizard. It was a pewter wizard holding a crystal.
Holding a crystal.
It was beet juice, idiot. I'm a beet farmer.
Steve Farr says, don't forget King of Wishful Thinking was also on that soundtrack. I want to say I watched this movie when it came out in theaters in 1991. I was 18 years old. 19, somewhere around there. And I loved it. I bought the soundtrack on the cassette and listened to it over and over. And it is a problematic movie and it isn't great, but I absolutely love it. I've seen it countless times and I don't care. I love it. It's like Paul said, it's just an iconic classic, big movie stars making a big movie. Not great, but it's great. It's fun. I'm shocked that it's number 4. Honestly, but maybe it's that it's bigger in my mind because of all the re-releases and because of everything that came after. But these guys were huge movie stars doing a rom-com at the time, and I am shocked that it doesn't have a higher rating on our list. Jason, side A was definitely better. Definitely better. Yeah. There is a Peter Cetera song. It was a great soundtrack. You guys, I recommend go on the Spotify and give it a listen. It's a great soundtrack.
I just want to listen to Roxette all the time.
Yeah.
Pretty Woman at number 4. Okay.
Wait,
yes.
I want to hear Daniel. He said it was number 5 for him. His 5th. It was his least.
For me, it was 4.
I just tuned him out. I just tuned them both out because it doesn't matter. So
Daniel,
I need to know.
No, I enjoyed the movie. It's a classic. It really is. There's like endless. She loses points for that shake and go wig, right? But the movie gains the points back. Look at Richard Gere. Like, my God.
Yeah.
These are just
so
like
beautiful. Look at
attractive people. Look at him.
Yeah.
Still Richard Gere, though.
100% can get it.
Gere.
Respectfully.
Can get it.
Richard.
Yeah, I enjoyed it. It's a good movie. Like you said, the power dynamic between the two is a little off kilter, especially through like a 2024 lens. But for the time, I feel like it was still, an excellent film.
Yeah.
It's totally fun to do all that stuff to people. It was good to be terrible to people in the 90s.
Yeah, 90s were different.
See? Thank you, Alex, for saying that.
Okay.
But
right.
yeah, so what a bait.
Yeah.
Couldn't say it better myself.
I mean, you just kind of explained what they wanted Pretty Woman to be about. But we're going to move on from that. So, okay, number 3 in our top 5 rankings by box office breakdown is coming right as soon as you guys all like, comment, subscribe, hit the notification bell. Thank you guys for being here. I feel like Ryan Seacrest sometimes. It's fun. I have a good time doing it. But thank you guys all so much for being here. Okay, moving in. So number 3 on our box office breakdown for RomComs is Hitch.
Hitch.
Are you
finishable?
There's
Hitch.
one of those movies left. Beat this. Okay.
February released or directed by Andy Tennant, who also did Fool's Gold, Sweet Home Alabama, and Anna and the King, which I have a particular fondness for. I do like Anna and the King quite a bit. And then, of course, Sweet Home Alabama is amazing. It was released February 11th, 2005. It earned $179.4 million, so just beating Pretty Woman out by 10 million on release. I'm not adjusting for inflation because I'm not a math scientist. So this is at 6.6 out of 10 on a user review, 58 out of 100 on Metacritic. Releasing around the same time, Constantine, The Boogeyman, or just Boogeyman technically, and The Wedding Date, which I've only seen Constantine of those, but I'm familiar with The Wedding Date. So another divisive film on my personal Instagram. I was like, hey, to people that follow me, like, what's your favorite rom-com? It was the only one that came up multiple times was Hitch. And I think maybe this is just because of like the bankability of some of the stars, the straightforward plot, and the fact that it's the newest of all of the ones that we have here.
I have a reason.
So yeah, this is a really, really interesting film. Where does this rank for all of you?
Okay, wait.
I didn't finish it because I couldn't get past the premise.
Okay.
2 for me. Ah, damn it. I can't turn it off.
What? Nice.
Where was this for you, Alex?
It was 5 for me because I couldn't even finish it. I was watching it and I was like, I'm going to watch this today and blah, 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 blah. And I was sitting down. I had literally nothing to do. And I started watching it and I was like, oh my God, I can't watch this anymore. This is going to make me jump out of a freaking window. So
yeah,
there's just the premise off the bat of manipulation and all this stuff. And then Kevin James with the ketchup and I'm totally in love and I want to fall in love with this girl. I'm like, what girl? The girl you spent 5 minutes to who borrowed your pen? And I get the comedy of like the borrowing the pen. He's so I was like, the premise, I checked out.
Yeah.
I was like, I can't deal with this amount of manipulation. It freaking made me nuts. I was like gonna strangle Hitch through, and his name was Alex too. So every time they were like Alex, I was like, not me.
Alex Hitchens is his name.
Yeah.
Manipulating women to MCU Reddit thread neckbeards is his game. So exactly. It is I think it's just the movie.
It looks like Phil Collins.
Oh God. It is also the movie that I've seen the most of these. Probably I've seen these a few times. It was just always on. I feel like it was just always on TNT or it was just always on something.
If I could
I've seen it the most.
Paul's dad also loves this film, so
my dad loves this. I didn't want to drag him in front of these people, but my dad loves this movie.
Yeah.
And so I've seen it a few times. But yeah, it's a very interesting film, and I think Kevin James at this point was a pretty huge TV star. Mm-hmm. Will Smith is a huge movie star. And so Eva Mendes was the real, risk there. And it absolutely, it crushed. It was like a huge cast. And it makes sense why it was so popular.
His suit in the very beginning being so shiny was making me insane. I was like, they still wore shiny suits in the early 2000s. Like, I don't know. It just seems like some 1980s outfits. And I used to watch King of Queens all the time. By the way, it was on at work, and I used to just leave it on. So it's like for me, I was like, oh, Kevin James, this is King of Queens. This is his peak King of Queens he is. Hey, I'm gonna watch it. No bueno. I did get really excited when I saw the Ghostbusters firehouse that they
were
using. I was like, that excited me the most out of the whole movie.
I'm glad you noticed, because that is at least, God damn it, because that is at least in the first 5 minutes of the movie that you probably watched.
You watch it really hard.
Yeah, it is a deeply imperfect film. Like, I mean, really with all of these, truly, but it is, I mean, I still found some fun facts about it that I think people will like, especially one that I'd never heard. I'd watched a behind the scenes that they did with, was it ET, so Entertainment Tonight, years ago. And the 90-10 scene where Will Smith goes 90 and he goes 10, that was, for lack of a better word, improvised day of by Will Smith, because they were filming in this beautiful part of New York, I guess, with all these brownstones. And it was just supposed to be like a B-roll walking shot where, you know, all the characters there, there's really no lines. And Will Smith is like, this is so expensive to film here. We're only filming for 30 minutes. And he's like, I have an idea that I learned from a friend. Let's do it. And he's like, it's this 90-10 thing. So he pitches them on it and they're like, yes, let's do it. Andy Tennant loves it. But they're like, we can only frame it on, like, we have to put them on like these stoops because we can't block the sidewalk because they don't have a permit to film there any longer. So they go and they're in these like really rich areas, all these different brownstones, and they're just knocking on doors. No one's answering. So, according to Andy Tennant and Will Smith, they knock on this third door, and who opens but Sarah Jessica Parker? It's her brownstone that her and Matthew Broderick, who at the time were still married, they owned, and she's like, Will? And they notice each other, obviously, and because they're both mega stars, and she lets them film that 90-10 kissing scene right there on the porch. So that door that's behind them is Sarah Jessica Parker and Matthew Broderick's door. And it didn't cost them anything.
That's interesting.
Mm-hmm. Wow.
Thank you.
All right.
Yeah.
That's very
funny. And
I'll take it.
And also the song "Yeah" by Usher, which is used in the film.
Which song?
Yeah.
Yeah.
How's it go?
Yeah.
Thanks.
Yeah. Will Smith called Usher personally because they were both in the music business at the time. It's like, hey, can we use this? Because they were like, we're not going to be able to get this license.
I forgot Will Smith did music.
Damn it.
He did. Thanks, Autumn.
Someone didn't get jiggy with it. And it was Daniel. Better. Yeah, it was. That's upsetting. Okay, so Hitch at number 3. Okay, moving on to number 2.
Weird.
What Women Want by Nancy Myers of Father of the Bride, Parent Trap, The Holiday, and The Intern, of course, starring Mel Gibson.
What? Who?
And Satan. Satan definitely had a hand in this.
Released December 15th. Released December 15th, 2000, to a total of $182.8 million with a 6.4 out of 10 user review and a 47 out of 100 Metacritic score. It released at the same time as so many movies that are so much better than this movie.
Okay. Seriously.
Castaway.
Amazing.
Miscongeniality and the Emperor's New Groove.
Greatest.
Oh, wow.
That was a stacked year.
It all released within the same 2 weeks.
That's amazing.
Do the thing when the sun hits it just right.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, this is an.
I can't believe it.
Everyone, did we rate it yet?
Yeah, it's my least favorite of all of these.
It's actually 4 for me because I didn't finish it. Maybe I like
misogynist.
Daniel, what was your 5th?
I just hated it.
My 5th was Pretty Woman.
Okay.
Man. We disagree. Wow.
Daniel,
this is the misogyny level down here.
Down here, we're gonna bring you guys down to our level.
I want to fight you for the first time, Daniel. Like, you're so nice, and now I kind of want to throat punch you a little bit.
I'll take it. I'll let you get one.
How could you possibly think this is better than Pretty Woman?
Yeah, I'm with Autumn on this one. I didn't like Pretty Woman, but
yeah.
I feel that.
Entitled to your opinion. You're just wrong.
But
I think that was my incorrect opinion. The star power in this movie, like Marissa Tomei's in this, Sarah Paulson's in this.
Oh, so awesome.
Yeah.
Actually,
just
Johnson
not in this movie.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, not in this movie.
Yeah. We're not going to let you forget this, Daniel.
Yeah.
You can't skate away by doing your job.
This is your favorite movie of all time, is what you're saying. That's what I'm going to hear.
That's all I can get across.
You were voting for Mel Gibson.
Big Mel Gibson guy down there.
I'm gonna cancel myself. I'll see my way out.
Daniel Mel Gibson Lover Franco. That's what we call him.
I somehow saw this. I somehow saw this in the movie theater. My ex wanted to go see this, and we saw it. She absolutely loved it. I was like, "What the heck is wrong with you?" Mel Gibson was in the movie stopped, and Mel Gibson's finger pointed at him and said, "You need to leave my movie," because we also she also took me to see The Last Temptation. The Passion of the Christ, and she got really mad at me at the end. That's a whole other story. She got mad at me on the way out of that movie. But yeah, Mel Gibson did not want me at that movie.
It's
knowing if Daniel was a bad person or not, he's a Mel Gibson fan. We should have known. The signs are everywhere.
Yeah.
Wait till the Passion of the Christ episode.
We too.
That episode's coming real soon. Okay, Paul, do your little thing. Say your little.
All right.
I'm excited.
No,
I can't believe this.
It was nominated for a Saturn Award in 2001 for Best Fantasy Film. Didn't win.
What?
It was nominated. The Saturn Awards dubbed this a fantasy film, and it was nominated in 2001, and it lost. I don't know what to.
The only fantasy is anyone thinking this was a good idea to make. Okay, go ahead.
Yeah.
Wasn't there a reboot too? Like, didn't they redo this at some point?
So I think there was, and it was Taraji P. Henson did What Men Want. I don't know if it ever went anywhere. I couldn't find if it was out. I'm sure someone can look. I didn't really look too much into it, but I think Taraji P. Henson had like the the gender swapped version of this film. It was also Mel Gibson was also nominated for a Golden Globe for Best Actor for this movie.
My gosh. Like, is everyone? It's like a mass hallucination, and they all saw something else.
Mass psychosis.
Very weird.
I have
the
some
effect. Like, it's actually a really great movie, and we're actually watching the wrong version.
We are, yeah. You're watching What Women Wear, and you're like, that's not it. That's not it.
You guys can watch the special edition with the McClunky edit in it.
The McClunky edit. So the Nike ad execs that are there, where he reads them, and he's like, he's nailing this. Where do I sign? Like that whole thing. Those are real Nike ad execs. That's why they don't speak. That's not even their voices. But they were like, it would be great for this film if we get real women in business to, sit there and just let Mel Gibson talk to them. It's so pandering. It is so
real
fucking pandering.
Film is so pandering.
Film is a nightmare.
Paul is reminds me of when we worked in the comic shop, and it was like, girls read comics too. We're going to make comics for girls. And pink on the cover.
We had this time when for everyone, super quick detour here, but me and Autumn were working, we were doing something, ordering whatever we were doing, and we had this other girl that worked with us. Her name was Holly. Hi Holly, if you're watching, if you ever get to this, we love you. I follow her on Instagram and she just bought a home. Hi Holly.
I know, I saw that too.
Anyways, she was an amazing comic book fan, like more than me, more than everyone
in there.
And we had so many dudes who would come in and be like, hey Paul, where do I get the detective? And I was like, I don't know, go ask Holly. I don't care, I don't want to talk to you. And they wouldn't go up to her because it was really frustrating for them, and they wanted me to talk to them, and I just think they were afraid to talk to her because she is like the gentlest person ever. But
she was so nice, but
the amount of times we have to be like, I don't know, go ask Holly.
Yeah,
that's her job.
Is there another man around here I can ask, or?
Yeah,
real Kenergy, a lot of Kenergy.
Honey, where's your boss, honey?
Yeah,
where's your boss? Or what does that even? What's her name say in the movie? She's like, don't call me that pig movie name. He's like, sure thing, babe. And I was like, Mel Gibson, I swear.
Yeah. And then he smacks her on the butt. And, it's like,
and he smacks her on the butt. I did think it was funny that...
the crotch scene. Oh, the crotch scene where he keeps poking his crotch out. I was like, stop it.
Oh, my gosh.
Stop it.
You know what's funny is I was looking at this movie, and I haven't seen Mel Gibson in anything in quite a long time. And I was like, I can see why people loved him. Watching this film, I was like, man, he's got so much... charisma, and he's so charming, but he just loaded the wrong bulletin, and he's just an interesting case of an actor. I mean, I think we were really riding high on the Braveheart from that, and we're like, oh, okay, he's not Willie Wallace.
No.
You know?
Can we talk about how at the very end he's this big white knight savior who uses his powers to go save the suicidal girl, and immediately he goes to her house. Yeah,
Judy
he's
Greer.
gonna go to her house and he's gonna offer her a job because she's suicidal, not because she has talent or he has any knowledge of what abilities she might have. Just, oh, we need a copywriter. You can join us. He has no idea if she can even do this. And then, can we talk about how he got fired after that, so he actually can't give her that copywriting job? But it's okay because he has love. So that girl can go ahead and, figure her own thing out now.
The one thing I will say is that it did accurately depict how ridiculous the corporate world is, where it's like, technically he's fired and he just told this person they're doing this thing now, but they're not doing it. And it's like, it's all fake. It's all fake. So the only thing they got right is that the corporate world is ridiculous and advertising is
nonsense.
But also, sponsor us. We'd love a sponsor.
Oh, God. And Helen Hunt was so misused. She's very talented.
Chronically misused.
Man, it was just like, oh, she's so fragile. She's so smart, but so fragile. And she's the only one who says what she thinks. And so it's so refreshing for him. Like, lucky her that he found her so refreshing because her thoughts were true to her words. And like
that's why I hate
chosen. Like, how lucky
that's why I
for
hate
her.
Most of these movies. That's my problem with a lot of them. It's like the dude is just like he's gonna save them from themselves. They need him, and that's why these romantic comedies are killing me. Killing me.
Well, that brings us to the number one film in our box office breakdown. This movie had the highest grossing weekend domestically. That movie is My Big Fat Greek Wedding. This is directed by Joel Zwick, who also directed Elvis Has Left the Building, Fat Albert, and then multiple Disney shows. Like, worked on so many Disney shows. Technically launched the career. I don't want to say launched. That's not appropriate, but like was one of the first ones to work with Jenna Ortega. Like she made her way through the Nickelodeon and the Disney World. She was on a lot of his shows. It was released on August 2nd, 2002, to a total of, in 2002, $241.1 million. That is a ton of money. Jesus.
Yeah.
With a user score of 6.6 out of 10, 62 out of 100 on Metacritic. It released the same time as Signs, Triple X, the Vin Diesel movie, Austin Powers Goldmember, and Blue Crush.
All movies.
So it had that going for it.
Yeah.
It had it. It didn't have that steep a competition, I feel.
No, it didn't.
Except for Signs. Signs out-earned it by quite a bit.
Signs did really well in the theaters. Yeah.
And then it ended up.
What's everyone's ranking?
3.
What's wrong with you?
Yeah, it was just because
Number one.
Pretty Woman and Hitch were in front of it, and I forgot. So it would definitely not be 1 for me. It would probably be 2. I just enjoyed Pretty Woman more than I enjoyed this movie. I don't know what it was.
I think it's some demerits for this. Like,
racism,
closer.
Get in line.
Yeah.
What do you have against Grease?
You guys, this movie, no notes. Like, no notes. This movie is just perfect from beginning to end. So
Kimono.
Iconic. The thing, like, oh my gosh, the kimono. And you don't eat no meat. And then, okay, I'll make lamb. I mean,
by the way,
family is amazing. Every scene is fantastic. Yes,
and the Will Make Lamb woman. She's in Only Murders in the Building. She's Steve Martin's makeup woman.
Yeah.
Oh, right. He's like a vegetarian. It's okay. We'll make a lamb. Yeah, this movie was great. You know what it is too?
I watched
My Big Fat Greek Wedding. I had never seen. It was the first one I had watched out of all of our movies. And I just had seen it so long ago. I saw it like 2 weeks ago, where everything else I've seen in the last 4 days. So I've got a little bit of recency bias. I will admit to that.
But my gosh.
I would
again.
1A, 1B. How about that? It would be 1B for me. But
okay. I mean, this movie, it was my favorite movie of all time since it came out. Like, It took the place of Princess Bride, which was my favorite movie before that.
Right.
It took the place. I watched this movie. I can't even count how many times I've watched it. Multiple times a year, every year since it came out. I absolutely love this movie. It always hits the spot. It's that chicken soup movie, where you just are going to feel better. And every single time I watch it, without fail, when the dad gives them a house at the wedding, I cry.
Aww.
I know it's coming. And I'm like, okay, I'm not. And then she gives it to her, and she's like, "You bought us a house," and it's just.
Is she crying right now?
Every time, it's
I cried because of the current housing market. Like, oh my God, could you imagine? Yes, please.
Gifted a house.
It's just, Steve Nara has a question. He says, "Have the sequels hurt the standing of the original because they are not great?" I don't think so at all.
It's its own thing.
The sequels are horrible.
No.
They're horrible, and
there's a TV show.
Not be.
This movie. Steve, My Big Fat Greek Life. Yeah, that was pretty brutal.
It was
Canned laughter. Steve, think about Star Wars, right? Like, do sequels ruin the original, or do they just stand alone? You can watch them separately.
Yeah.
If you have bad taste.
No, I think it's just an absolute perfect movie, and I think the love is not just between the two of them, but the love of her family and the love they have for each other, and the love that she has for them, and it's just the thing with these guys is they are all broad characters, but they're based in reality. They're steeped in reality. They're not outrageous, except in the way that actual family members would actually be that way. It's just it's a beautiful movie, and I love it. Yeah.
Being from a family that is very culturally mixed with a very Mediterranean family and a very Euro family, you see a lot of this. And I feel like people who are from mixed culture marriages, that especially Mediterranean culture, really got into this movie because Irish people and Italian people, they always get married, that's a very big cultural thing, so that's really nothing really big. But when you get some Norwegian and Italian, it's like you've mixed two things that they have no idea how to do.
Very different palates.
Yeah. Me with my ex, it was two different. Hey, you want to eat this? Hasbana? What? No, thank you. I don't want to eat that. Weird stuff.
Totally get it. I mean, and Daniel is the only one who can speak from reference. Being in our family, right? Being Hispanic, when she walks in and her family's loud and they're kissing everyone and they're talking, and I'm like, yeah, that's like Christmas, right? That's
I get war flashbacks watching that.
A 5-year-old's birthday party where everyone's drinking, they're having fun, and everyone just knows each other, and it's just kind of loud and going. So when you bring in someone that's is Nick? Is that his name? Or am I thinking? I'm thinking of Mel Gibson. Nick
is one of the. No, everyone's name is Nick. That's
why they're all Nick.
Nick,
Nico,
Nico,
Nick,
Nicky.
But yeah, when you bring in someone like that, it can go one of two ways, right? And I think that's why My Big Fat Greek Wedding was so beautiful. Is in some instances, it can be oh, this is such a culture shock that it's overwhelming. I've lived that experience personally. And then in this film, it's so beautiful because he's just this is your life and it's beautiful, and I want to live it with you as long as they'll embrace me. So it's a lot of it is about the family learning to love him as much as they're learning to love each other, and she loves her family, and it is that perfect triangle of love.
It's also about her self-love. She has to gain love for herself before she's ready for this, and to accept that he would really love her. Even she sees her family as this big burden who could ever want to, that fact that in her mind, he's going to make this big change for her. So it's about also, to me, the movie is about the whole story within the story. The important one is her self-love that she earns.
Most important. True. Well, and the parents, his parents, bringing a bunt cake. I can't get over that line.
A bunt.
Oh, it was my twin. They found teeth.
We fixed it, and there's flowers coming out.
But then at that party, they take some shots of whatever that was, and they start getting after it. Love them.
Yeah,
that's all they need.
Oh my gosh! Do you have a little spiel about this movie?
Yeah, but it was good. It's not a burden, sweetheart. It's a blessing. This woman at Anarco once told me that. I always remember that. And it's talking about family, or I don't know what she was just talking to me. So nominated for best, it was nominated for an Oscar to be Pretty Woman was the only other one. Best Original Screenplay, but lost to a movie that I'd never heard of called Talk to Her, which is a movie.
Is that the one Bruce Willis is a baby?
No, there's not really a lot of notable. I say notable as far as like.
Good stocking.
Talk to Her, also the name of What Women Want in Spain. Yeah. But it was a movie about these two guys who develop like a friendship after both of their wives are in comas. And so they develop like a friendship. It was apparently like beautiful and heartbreaking, and it won over this movie. Wow. Anyways, that's a small detour. But the most interesting part of this entire film that I found is, I'm just going to read it as I wrote it. But it began as a one-woman show in LA in 97. Nia Vardalos was a Second City alum, and it was performed by, and it was written about and performed for her Greek family. Rita Wilson, who was also Greek, attended one of the performances. She went backstage after the show and told Vardalos that it should be made into a movie. 1 week later, Rita Wilson's husband, also known as Tom Hanks, called her to make this film. Yeah. And it was, he called her. And so she had told her friends about this, and her friends were messing with her. Her Second City friends were like, hey, this is Tom Hanks, just like messing with her and be like, so when he actually called her, she hung up on him. And then he's like, okay, guys, stop playing with me. And he's like, no, it's really me. And then she freaked out, and she was on the treadmill apparently. And I imagine in my head, she fell off the treadmill and then we cut to the next scene.
Not meal. Treadmill.
He says meal.
Yeah, treadmill.
Treadmill.
You said meal.
You said treadmill.
Like 3 times.
The way I run on it, I'm looking like a treadmill.
Oh, there you go.
Boom. All right. It was also, for this, I found to be interesting from a nerd analytics perspective. It was one of the highest grossing movies to have never sat at number 1. It never reached number 1 at the box office.
That's amazing.
Tons of different things were in front of it. Again, Signs being one. And also, it was the most profitable movie of all time until Paranormal Activity came along, and then Slumdog Millionaire knocked Paranormal Activity out. The movie made $240 million on a budget of $5 million.
Wow.
Damn.
It makes sense why they're like, you want to make 3 more and a show? Yeah, go ahead.
Knock yourself out.
$5 million. I'm not going to do this to you, Alex. I'm sorry. But seems like the ADR budget for Madame Web alone. It was ridiculous that movie was so successful on a relatively small budget. And I think, so that, before we get into this, but yeah, that's just the numerical, I guess the box office, a numerical version of this. I'm curious as to why, because I have my perspective of why you think that movie, from a relative unknown about a Greek family and from an entire director who people didn't really know, ended up being the number 1 film at the box office over Mel Gibson, over Julia Roberts. Do you think it's like the right time? Do you think it's the messaging? I have my perspective, but I'm curious what you all think.
That was a big word of mouth movie. Like, I go see it. I'm like, Ma, you got to come see this movie. Then my mom goes with Dad, and then my grandma's got to go see it. And then we all got to go see it. I love this movie. So that was a really big family movie. So it kind of crossed family
movie. Yeah.
It wasn't just a rom-com. It was a family movie where people would just go, and I think that really helped it. The focus on the family, because like anyone with like I said, with family, dynamics like that, and it's all positive. There's so little negativity in it. Like that, there's very little of that.
So I think that combined, like you have that for family. For women, I'm sorry, but if you make a movie that has wedding or bride in the title or as the topic, women are going to go see that with each other. They're going to get their friends and they're going to go see that movie. Like even the really bad.
It's exactly what Mel Gibson said in What Women Want.
Yes, it's true. Women will go with their girlfriends to go see a movie about, the wedding planner and 27 dresses, like the one where Julia Roberts, the Runaway Bride.
Runaway Bride. Also Gary Marshall.
But they did really well because women would go see them with each other. It's a girls' night out movie. So when you have a girls' night out movie that's also this family movie, and then it's well made and joyous, people will see it multiple times. They'll recommend it. Like he's saying, it's a big word of mouth movie. I think that's my reason.
What do you think, Daniel?
I kind of agree. You know, I feel like the family outings probably really did help it along. But yeah, like you guys said, like it's mostly positive. Like I feel like the worst negative aspects of that like she portrays of the family is like, oh, you know, I don't know if you're gonna like them, or you know, they're kind of a lot, and it's like, Mom, stop. You know, I don't know. I feel like there was never too negative of a point. It wasn't like she hated her parents or she hated her family. But yeah, I feel like it really did become like a positive, like not outlet, positive piece of media for families and whatnot. Because like I watch it with my family and we love it. We're always like, oh, that's you. Oh my God, that's Mom. Oh my, you know, it's so relatable. So I feel like it just genuinely organically like popped off.
Yeah, I agree. Word of mouth, honestly, it being like a cultural event is so impactful. I also, when watching all of these, and I looked at this, and I've been looking at this outline forever, I was like, it's the only movie of even some of the other ones that are on this that are like 6 through 10 that is from, for lack of a better word, the female perspective. It's the only one there that was written and directed by a woman who has a obviously much different perspective of what love means and how it's represented. I mean, again, Nancy Meyers directed What Women Want, but it wasn't written by her. It also wasn't her script. She came in afterwards and fixed the film and added the Nancy Meyers brand to it.
Right.
And I think, you know, with this movie, I was like, well, why does it just feel better? It just feels more cohesive.
Sincere.
And
it's sincere.
Yeah.
Like and it's authentic.
And it's the lack of objectification of the other antagonists, I guess, for lack of a better word, of her being her husband.
Ethan,
like
I think
Ethan is his name. Thank you.
Like
and so in all the other films, like they are objects of desire, objects to move the story along. And none of them are written by women. And, you know, in how do I put this? In a genre of film that is entirely geared or marketed at women, which is entirely nonsensical. Women and men tend to go to the same movies equally. It's just not really marketed that way. It's the only one written with like women in mind. Look at like Barbie, right? The comparison, obviously very different films, but as a feminine movie, it is an unapologetically feminine movie, and it used that to its advantage. And it made $1 billion. Like, this is the equivalent at that time of $1 billion film. Not obviously fiscally, but in like, what did this movie do? How much money did it make? Because it was like unapologetically Greek, unapologetically, like it just did something that I think it was like, well, we're never going to get another chance to do this, so let's just do it.
Yeah.
So I found that to be like the one through line with all this, and also, like we all said, the best representation of love in all of these movies.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah,
I thought it was interesting. I think some of the reasons, like, it was interesting that 3 of the 5 movies were male-centric movies that are rom-coms, which is unusual to have a rom-com. When you think of all the rom-coms that are out there, and I've seen probably all of them multiple times because I love these dumb movies, it's very rare to have a rom-com be male-centric, to be the male's point of view, the male's story, and to have the top 3 out of the top 5 be these male-centric stories. It makes me feel like those are the kind of movies that would be a date night movie, whereas pure rom-coms, and I'm just going to say it that way, but like female-centric rom-coms are more of a girls' night out type of thing. So women are more likely to be able to convince their significant other male to go see Hitch or to go see something about Mary. Yeah. So like
they're crappy,
it's just
awful husband.
And I was really, really shocked that when Harry Met Sally or Sleepless in Seattle weren't on this. And I'm thinking maybe because you're talking about initial release as opposed to, you know, overall. But I would put those. So, I mean, if you want to talk about best romantic comedies, then most of these movies aren't on the list.
Which is why I didn't, when I pitched this to all of you, I didn't phrase it that way because we would just sit here all day, like as you know, what qualifies best. But like this is just by dollars and cents.
Yeah, because like Sleepless in Seattle was Tom Hanks and Meg Ryan when they were at the top of their game, and it was like it was put together as like this is a perfect romantic comedy. This is. But
that was a great movie.
It's interesting. Yeah.
I actually like that movie for a grump.
And
that's
being
another
again, I had to be very strict with like what it was by dollar because otherwise, again, we would go in circles forever. But it lost by $1 million was Crazy Rich Asians. Oh. Crazy Rich Asians is sitting at number 6. It would have been 5 if we would have all just watched it a lot more.
If you have a big family movie about a very specific family dynamic, that's going to help you get up to the top.
Like Something About Mary. That's about family.
Yeah. Listen, I'm going to tell you right now. I just got to come in here right now and just say something, right? As a romantic comedy, as a relationship, as anything, this movie is like the worst. Just watching it for disgusting, awful jokes. That's why it's my number 2, because the other movies are just so horrible and have nothing redeeming about them.
You about Something About Mary?
Yeah. So,
because
Something About Mary being number 2 for me is because I could just watch terrible jokes. It's just terrible jokes. There's nothing romantic about it. I think it's terrible relationship, but at least that it has that going for it, where I can like, that is so gross. I could laugh at that, like a horror.
I'm going to be right back. I've got a technical issue with my laptop. I'll be right back.
Oh, no. I found it funny, Alex, that you bring up that you brought up Matt Dillon one more time, because technically Matt Dillon played a detective twice that year. And again, for everyone, the year was 98. Matt Dillon played that. There he is. He played a detective in Something About Mary, and he was also a detective or a police officer in another movie, very different, called Wild Things. So,
Lord.
Big year for Matt Dillon and his cop uniform.
Boo that movie.
Yeah, it'll make our top 5 Matt Dillon.
Why?
I thought he was a teacher.
Is that not a rom-com?
He's a teacher. He's a teacher.
I thought he was a police officer, man. I read something wrong. Well, there goes my bit. But he's in 2 movies that year that are very different.
Yeah. But also, no, not really, because he's terrible, mean, awful, terrible. What a horrible movie, Wild Things. I couldn't finish Wild Things. I was so
it's pretty bad.
Uncomfortable.
It's pretty bad. Yeah. I don't like that movie either. I just thought it was funny. But thank you, everyone. That was our top 5 box office breakdowns of rom-coms. Let us know if there's any other genre, type of film, actor, as far as box office that you'd like us to cover. These are really fun. These are fun for me to do because I love just looking into these.
Yeah. I think it'd be interesting to do a top 5 blockbuster of all time, global to date. You know what I mean? Of whatever genre we're gonna do, like even if you're talking about re-releases, if you're talking about anything, just like the top 5 grossing whatever movies of all time would be interesting to do too.
Yeah, and that's what we did with the last couple. We did that with DCU. We did that with Pirates. This one was just a little trickier because I just couldn't pin down the exact like dollar amounts for all of these because they've been re-released so many times.
The re-releases.
But yeah, we can absolutely do that. Like, I would love to. I know, I think Steve Nara. Steve, if you're still here, hello. Yeah. But he recommended like top 5 box office movies of actors playing in their like opposite against stereotype. That one seems fun, and he dropped some examples. I would have to figure out like how we could do that as objectively as possible. Yeah. But man, Adam Sandler and Rain on Me. I always recommend that movie if no one's seen it. That movie is heartbreaking. And
Steve says, I am here and I still think we should do that. Okay.
I agree.
Consensus.
All right. Well, before we wrap, let's before Autumn does her hip hops and raps for us, let's did anyone bring anything for the content potluck?
I did.
All right, go ahead, Autumn. You're first with all that energy.
Okay. As you may have noticed, I am not in my normal place. I'm staying in a hotel because I'm visiting my mom.
With the Winchesters?
So yes. I'm visiting my mom, and in honor of visiting my mom, my mom posts a meme on Facebook every single day for it's been well over a few years. Every single day she posts a meme. So in honor of my visit to my mom, I brought 2 of my mom's memes. You ready? These are memes that she posted on Facebook. Here's the first one. This is the correct way to fold a fitted sheet. You just wad it up and stick it on your head.
I agree with this.
This is such a Facebook post.
Yes, it's my mom's Facebook post meme. Yeah, this is the second Facebook post meme. Sorry, we're closed due to short staff. Hire taller staff because I need a taco.
I love your mom.
My mom has great memes, and I think that everyone should follow my mom on Facebook for the memes.
Yeah, they are pretty good. They are fantastic.
See, thank you, Laura. Mom's memes. That's right.
Thank you, Gladding Supreme. We appreciate you. And if you're watching, like, comment, subscribe, and hit the notification bell, please. Alex, there it is for you. If you forget, you're up. What did you bring for the content potluck?
Well, mine is self-centered because I always have something going on with my hair since I'm growing it out, and I tried something different, and it was a failed experiment. So I tried putting pomade in my hair and slicking it back. And when you have hair this curly, it is not very easy. So I ended up looking like Mandy Patinkin in his
oh my god
Berenson era.
That's amazing.
Which, by the way, I know it's not okay. Listen, I'm sure objectively we could take it apart, but I am really enjoying his series. It's very silly.
His series. You trimmed your beard like his? That's
dude.
Yeah.
I would love if your beard was this short. All jokes aside, it would look good trimmed like that.
Well, clearly you've got an example right there of what you would look like.
Mandy Patinkin wishes he could be you.
Yeah.
And I'm liking his new show on Hulu, Death and Other Details. It's silly, it's goofy, but it's cute. I'm enjoying it. But here's the thing, is that I am genetically predisposed to look like Mandy Patinkin because here's my Uncle George in the 1970s up against Mandy Patinkin. That is my Uncle George.
Whoa.
And that's Inigo Montoya. So I'm genetically predisposed to looking. So that's my content.
Yeah.
That was a good one.
I love it.
That was a good
really
one.
Great.
That was like personal. That was like informative.
Yeah.
We were all like
family.
Oh my god, it's like when you're in class and you're like, why are you taking microbiology? It's like, well, my father died of an advanced. It's like, oh my god, just tell you need the credits. Listen, we can't all do this. What about you, Daniel? Did you bring anything for the content potluck?
I brought napkins to the potluck.
You ass. Okay, you did just have to sit through traffic, so.
Yeah, and that's my excuse.
Okay, I brought 2 that are kind of dark and dumb.
I love dark.
Kind of my brand. So this first one. El Chapo's granddaughter, 18, joins hunt for Loch Ness Monster while romping through Scotland. Finally, a normal Nepo baby.
Yeah, for real. At least she's doing something interesting, right?
She's living my dream life. Are you kidding me? And then this one I also found to be pretty funny. He knew too much.
Oh my god.
So I've been in a great headspace, and my algorithm knows exactly what to feed me.
Oh my god.
I would kill to just hunt the Loch Ness Monster. Like, if we can get this to a point, Autumn, this show.
Loch Ness Monster. What the heck?
No, hunt it. Not violently hunt it.
Oh, and hunt and kill.
Track it down.
Monster.
Yeah, it's essentially, I think, what's hunting without killing?
Yeah, what's the point?
Tag? It's tag.
You're gonna catch and release the Loch Ness Monster.
Tag the ear and just give it back.
I just want to know where it is. But it's that's my dream life. I would love to do that so much.
That's amazing.
So hang out with them Sasquatches. Well, that's our show. Actually, wait, I have to promo our next show because it's an exciting one.
Yeah.
I don't know. So if you guys remember, I was talking about a few weeks ago during our amazing cold open that my algorithm's gotten very specific, and I've started to follow this guy, Barry Enderwick, who has this profile, this account, a couple of different accounts, but his main one is Sandwiches of History, where he comes on and he talks about these Nathan something Rockefeller's sandwich from his cookbook, and the Good Housekeeping cookbook, and they're all from the 40s and 50s. And he makes these sandwiches. Well, we posted it on our Instagram. I reposted it, and he reached out to me and was like, "This is awesome! I can't believe you found my content." It's not that impossible. He's got like 200,000 followers, and he's going to be on the show next week. And me and Autumn
be on the show, you guys.
He's going to be on the show live. Me and Autumn are going to talk to him. It's going to be another series, our passion project. We had to step away from, so it's going to be our passion project series where we are going to chat with him about how he creates just content all the time. I think he has a full-time other job. Like, he has a legitimate job. He manages 7 Instagram accounts that are all pretty successful.
Oh, wow.
And he is just constantly pumping out content. A new video, a new sandwich every, I think he does it like twice a week. So he's going to come on the show, hang out, talk about content, how he got started.
Sandwiches?
He won't. I asked him, and
he should demo a sandwich live.
Yeah,
okay, we could ask him. I feel like he gets asked that a lot, though.
I think that since he won't make you guys sandwiches live, you should go buy Subway sandwiches just as this is a dig.
Go buy like a really cheap fast food sandwich.
It's like, and then I was gonna start getting very niche because I'm obsessed with his content, and then I have so many inside jokes with me and my houseplants. So that's next week at 6.
Love it.
We're gonna have Barry on. He is an incredibly sweet man. His full name is Barry W. Enderwick. You guys can follow him. Go to sandwichesofhistory.com if you want to get to know a bit about him, and follow him on Instagram. I think he has an Instagram.
And what a great idea.
That's a great idea.
We should also each share a sandwich from our own histories, like our childhoods.
Huh. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I won't be here, so.
I like that. No.
Yeah.
No, you won't. We won't forget that. Yeah. Barry will be here next Thursday to hang out and chat with us and talk through his process, his content, and also what he geeks out about. He's a big fan of a lot of stuff, so we're interested in finding that out, and hopefully getting the Sandwich Mafia on our side. So until next time, everyone, thank you so much for hanging out and going through another box office breakdown with us. If there's anything you guys want us to cover, again, after the show, like it, share it, comment, and we'll get to as many of them as we can. And I do keep a running list. I don't want to brag, it's OCD, but of all of your guys' suggestions. You can reach us in the group at Fandom Socialites. We're getting more active on Instagram thanks to Autumn. On TikTok.
Making those we have TikTok actually has TikToks
content
so
now.
Our TikTok. Yeah, we have content there.
We sure do.
It's just
so you guys can find us there
on TikTok.
Fandom Social on TikTok, pretty much everywhere. And again, hang out in the group, invite some people. We'd love to hang out and hang out with as many of you guys as possible. But we'll see you all next week. Again, the 6 p.m. PST, 9 Eastern, with Barry Enderwick of Sandwiches of History. So thank you all so much. Have a great night. Like what you love what you like, and don't step into a bathtub with a blow dryer.
No, that's bad.
Bye, everyone.
Don't do that.
That's a good idea.
Start
I didn't think about that.
Thoughts.
Yeah.
I don't want to hear any of your thoughts.